get misinformed. And you hear people saying, go and apply for visiting visa. If you get to the port of entry, you raise your hand, then give you paper. You become a government property. You hear other people say, just use student visa to apply. Once you get to the port of entry, you just raise your hand and you become a government child, and then they give you paper. Let me tell you, people, it is not as easy as that. You don't just get to the port of entry and then they give you your permanent residence because you came to seek asylum. No, it's a huge process. Hello, welcome back to Global Asset Channel. If this is your first time of stumbling into my channel, this is Global Asset Channel. And on this channel, we talk about anything immigration, how to live life in Canada, and so many other things. By way of disclaimer, I am not an immigration expert. I'm not an immigration officer. I am not an immigration consultant or a registered agent. Everything I do on this channel, I do for my own, from my own information. Every information I give you is from my own research. So you, as an individual, you have a right to do searches and be able to make findings for yourself, and before you can implement. But every information I get from the website, they are authentic, but still you still have the right to go and do your due diligence, seek out you know search and authenticate the information you get so that you'll be able to make informed choice. But hey, what you don't know is bigger than you. So once again, I welcome you. And today is so heavy what I'm going to say. I don't understand how people get themselves entrapped. I did a video on asylum seeking and in one of my videos. And this video I did specifically stated and mentioned the categories of people that are entitled to asylum, that can be granted asylum positively in Canada. But you know what? People get misinformed. And you hear people saying, go and apply for visiting visa. If you get to the port of entry, you raise your hand, then give you paper. You become a government property. You hear other people say, just use student visa to apply. Once you get to the port of entry, you just raise your hand and you become a government child, and then they give you paper. Let me tell you, people, it is not as easy as that. You don't just get to the port of entry and then they give you your permanent residence because you came to seek asylum. No, it's a huge process. And once you give all your information, they go and they do their own due diligence. They search your background. They find you out. They can even come as far as your country of originality. Yes, they can, because every country has a Canadian embassy. So when you tell stories, when you get to the port of entry, or when people tutor you what to say, please be very, very smart to know that these people you are telling stories, they've heard so many stories, and stories alike as well. And another thing you want to remember as a student, I'm really particular about students now. If you are coming in as a student, you have to fill your application form to apply for visa. And when you are applying for this visa, there is a spot that they will say that You should attest to everything you have said, the terms and the conditions that states that every information you have given on this paper you have filled out, they are authentic, and that every misleading information will be punished. And you will say, yes, I accept all the things that I have said. Everything I said on this form, they are real. There is no falsification of information. And then the same you that told immigration, you have what it will take financially because you put proof of fund in your application, right? You already put the proof of fund. You said that you have all the money it will take to study while you are here. Immigration said, okay. You now said, okay, you also have what it takes, to pay your rent, pay for your tuition fee, do everything. And some even went as far, some will even go as far as buying their return ticket. It's all right. All those things are good. Then you now fill the form at the end of the day to say that you are attesting that all the information you have given, they are truths and nothing but the truth. And the same you at the port of entry will raise your hand and say, hey, I'm an asylum seeker now. I'm seeking asylum. And they ask you why. You say for financial duress. I don't have financial support. I don't have what it takes to study in Canada. Omo, haven't you just shot yourself? The same you that just signed that you have everything it takes financially to study in Canada. Now, at the port of Canadian entry, you are now saying that you are seeking asylum because you don't have the fund. How did the fund you use, the fund you use on your application form, how did it get into there? How did it get there? You people should stop. Why I'm saying you people should stop, I know some people might insult me, that, because you are in Canada. No, it's not because I'm in Canada. I remember I was also a student. When I left Nigeria, I was a student in the UK. I was a student, so I started rough too. So you have to do things right. You have to do things the right way. You have to just do things the right way. That's why I say, like, get your information right and look at what you are getting yourself into. If you can do it, go ahead and do it. If you cannot do it, so be it. There are other ways of coming to Canada. It is not just through students. You have other means by which you can come to Canada. So if student is not working out for you, try another means because the process of asylum seeking is plenty. And now the government of Canada has woken up. Hmm. They have woken up because their own citizens are complaining now. Go everywhere on social media. Everybody is attacking students. And will you say they are wrong for attacking students? They are not, because why would you say you are a student, you have your money, you now come into Canada and claim asylum, dragging their own food with them? Yes, that's what is happening now. Because now their housing that they are supposed to have, because you came in as an asylum seeker, it is the responsibility of the government of Canada to make sure that any refugee is housed properly. So the accommodation that people have been waiting for on the list forever, they now give it to you because you're an asylum seeker. Are you really a genuine asylum seeker? That's the question you should answer. Why wouldn't they be angry? I put up a video one time on Facebook, and look at the insult I got. I posted it and I got a lot of abuses from Canadians. Yeah, I spoke back to them because it wasn't just right the way they were attacking me. But is it not right what they were saying? That people will now say they are coming to study. Yes, if you study as a student, get your permanent resident, get your do your work permit, get your permanent resident, go through the process. rather than just at the port of entry lying, and you think the judge will judge in favor of you at the end of the day. I don't understand. But so you know, I'm doing this video so that you know any person that is advising you to come to Canada as from next year, and when you just reach there, you just put your hands up and you get paper. There is an intention to clamp down on that now. There's an intention, when Mark Miller says anything is going to happen in the future might be next week. So when that man says a thing, his second name is Otokinadu. So if anybody is educating you to come in as a student, when you reach port of entry, you raise your hand. Raise hand up, then go give you paper. Omo, don't do it because there's an intention to clamp down. I want you to listen to this video because all Canadians they vex. He read, everybody's angry. The Canadians are angry. They are very upset, and I don't really blame them. You are eating the food. You are struggling their food with them. Get in properly and do things the way it should be done. Even if you pay your student fee, you did you got your work permit, and you got your PR. If anybody want to be angry, let them be angry. Let them go and talk to their government. But not coming in as a legit student, and then you get to the port of entry and raise your hand to declare Absalom. Watch this video. If you have intention to come to Canada and seek asylum, I am telling you now, there's an intention to clamp down. Don't let anybody color your money. Don't let anybody scam you of your hard-earned money, because it's not going to work as from next year. Watch this video and we'll be right back.
This is an absolute indicator that the system is broken. And not only is it broken, it's dangerous.
Nearly 13,000 international students have claimed asylum in Canada in 2024 so far. The numbers obtained by Global News show that from January to the end of August, 12,915 international students here on visas to study claimed asylum.
12,000 since January is very alarming.
Sunday on the West Block, Immigration Minister Mark Miller revealed deep concern about skyrocketing student asylum claims.
This is a program that was aimed at international excellence and not a backdoor entry into Canada for whatever reason.
Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc says he agrees after security concerns have been raised in the wake of a recent terror arrest.
I share Mark Miller's view, and I saw his comments on the weekend.
On Tuesday in New York City, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau did not echo those concerns directly, but warned against abusing the system, saying Canada has a moral obligation to help refugees.
Other people using the asylum path as a shortcut to gain Canadian permanent residency or citizenship is something that we need to continue to push back against.
Immigration lawyer Max Chaudhry says better screening of students before they are issued visas would help.
If they make a refugee claim inside of Canada, then it's quite apparent that a lot of the scrutiny may not have taken place when they applied, for example, as a student.
The government says it will take up to 10 days to acquire the data on numbers for previous years, but according to the Globe and Mail, 1,515 international students claimed asylum in 2018, a fraction of this year's numbers. Mercedes Stevenson, Global News, Ottawa.
Welcome back. So how was that? Hey, Kweke, yo, they will say Kweke. Let me read though. I'm going to be reading. I'm casting this news. Maybe you've read it. He said nearly 13,000 international students have applied for asylum in Canada in the first 8 months of the year. Year has not ended. Already almost 13,000. Data from Immigration, Refugee and Citizen Canada shows between January 1st and August 31st, a total of 119,835 refugee claims were made in Canada. Of these, 12,915 were claimants who were on either student permits that's 11,605. Or study permit extensions, 1,310. The department said. Do you see how much it is? Global News asked the department for a breakdown of how that compares with applications from claimants on study permit data back to 2015 to 16. But officials said they needed more time to provide that data. This can take up to 10 working days to obtain, the spokesman said. According to a report from the Globe and Mail in April, the number stood at 1,515 applicants in 2018, which appears to show an increase of 600% or more. Can you see the difference in gap? 2018, the applicant for a refugee claimant, right? Excuse me, for the whole of 2015 was 2018, sorry, was 1,515. The highest number of asylum claims from students this year came in August. Remember when after Mark Miller came up to say no more spousal work permit in August, no more spousal work permit. Everybody started diving into Canada to claim asylum. He said the highest number of asylum claims from students this year came in August with 1,785 claimants on student visas or study permit extension applying for refugee in Canada. The Prime Minister, Justice Trudeau, on Tuesday said Canada had a moral obligation to offer asylum to those fleeing violence. Remember, go and watch my video where I spoke about asylum. Fleeing violence and persecution, but also needed to ensure the system wasn't being misused. So if you are coming in as a student and now from student you suddenly transit into refugee, asylum seeker, is a misuse of the system and they are coming for you. Our capacity to do that means we need to properly be able to identify who needs most help. So who needs most help? Is it you who told the immigration before that you have all it takes to study in Canada, that now suddenly changed to not having anything, or the person that is actually able to prove that they are passing through persecution or violence? Remember, there is going to be a clampdown. Okay, who is there as a true asylum seeker and other people using the asylum path as a shortcut to gain Canadian permanent residency or citizenship is something that we need to continue to push back against. Trudeau told reporters at the United Nations. Okay? So it's not just in Canada now, it's now being tabled at the United Nations because as from the level of the United Nations, Canada is obliged to make sure that every refugee claimant are well taken care of. So now they are now specifying their terms of condition. That is not just everybody. We've seen that some people are abusing the system. We are now going to make sure that we scrutinize and know who for sure needs this asylum protection. Yeah. This comes after Immigration Minister Mark Miller said in an interview with Global News that a growing number of international students are claiming asylum in order to stay in Canada after being allowed in on student visa, calling it an alarming trend. It's an alarming trend. Speaking to Mercedes Stevenson in an interview that held Sunday on the West Block, Miller said those claimants are using the international student program as a backdoor entry into Canada. So they are watching you guys into Canada, right? Often to lower their tuition fees, right? And that universities and colleges must improve their screening and monitoring practices to weed out bad actors. So if you are doing that, you have a title now, bad actors, and they are coming for you. He said his department is studying the issue and suggested further reforms to the programs, so the program were being explored. Sorry, I'm reading from here. Miller made the comment after Stevenson asked if Mohammed Shazib Kaham, a Pakistan man arrested in Quebec this month while allegedly plotting a terrorist attack against Jews in New York City, had claimed asylum after entering Canada on a student visa in 2023. Miller said he could not comment on Khan's case as it is before the court, but was then asked how many international students in total have claimed asylum. There is a growing number, Mercedes, and it is frankly quite alarming given the volumes of people that come to this country in theory with the proper financial capacity to live and to pay their tuition fees, which are 4 times what Canadians pay, the minister said. We see that it happens often within the first year of the time they are here, often for less valid reasons than others, notably to drop the tuition fee to Canadian rates. There is some opportunism that is being used and exploited there. An IRCC spokesman told Global News that under Canadian law, every claimant had the right to have their refugee claim heard, but that was not a guarantee. They have opportunity to have their cases heard, but that was not a guarantee that they get to stay in Canada. So yes, you go to court, but you know what? You are the mercy of that judge. It is important to note that the number of asylum claims does not reflect the quality of thoroughness of the temporary resident visa, study permit, or work permit application process, the spokesman said in a statement. The spokesman said while applying for a study permit or any other thing of temporary residence, an applicant must satisfy the officer that they have sufficient connections with their country of origin, particularly related to their family and economic situation, and that they will leave Canada when their status expires. Some temporary residents come to Canada as genuine visitors, students, or workers, and then make an asylum claim because of development in their country of origin, the statement said. So they've dug into the matter. And for your information, there is diversity in their employment. In immigration, when you get to the immigration office, excuse me, they have Nigerians there, they have Philippines, they have Indians, they have all nationalities. So they actually know what's happening in different countries. So please, it is not because I'm already here that I'm saying this. Because I know people, they'll start being abusive and say, shut your mouth because you're already there. You don't know what people are going through in this country. I was going through something before I left. And did I say it was easy for me? No, it wasn't easy. I went to the right route. And that's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying don't come to Canada, but I'm saying come to Canada in an honorable way Come to Canada and do your due diligence. Come to Canada and do things the right way, because, truth be told, if when you seek asylum, you know, through dubious ways, by the time they get to know, it doesn't matter your status, they will repatriate you. And it is not just that easy, too. There are a lot of people here that have lost their mother, they have lost their father, they have lost very close relatives that they would have loved to go back home. They can't. Which home are you going to? Is it the same place that you said that they are chasing you from? Oh, they are chasing you from your country. You can't go to your country. Then they now give you refuge. You now want to go back to that country. Some people say after getting their permanent residency or citizens, they can't even enter their country of originality free of charge like that. I've had people who want, if they are going to Nigeria, they will travel to another country. So from there, travel to another country before they can go to their country of originality. Why do you want to put yourself through all these things? And at the end of the day, home is still the best. How can you now go back to the same country? You are not going home. You are not going home. You are not going home to where? The same place that you said you cannot go back to. When you are doing things, do it very well. And then some people, they also forget that when you seek asylum, depending on the story you told, some people will say my families are against me. And then after staying for a very long time, they now decide to start bringing their family members to Canada. You can't too. You can't bring your family. Because is it the same family member that you said is against you, that you are now going to bring to Canada? Or there was a story my sister told me. She has a friend that went to America. Even though I'm not talking about America here, but it's just an instance of how people tell stories and think that immigration officers don't have sense. So she had told this story that her husband is a wife beater, her husband is abusing her, her husband's this, her husband that. So she went to America, she sought this asylum, and she was granted a stay. After several years, then say person wey poo. My people say who poo, not dey remember the who pack the poo go remember am. So after several years, long distance relationship, she couldn't really go back home. So now said, let the husband come and visit. They took the husband from the port of entry in America and took him straight to jail. Because immediately they put his information in the system, everything came up. The wife beater. Yeah, the wife beater, not be so. And so then they done a wife beater. In quote, wife beater was coming to be the wife in America. From port of entry, they arrested this man straight to jail. So when you are blackmailing your family to immigration officer or to a country where you are going to seek asylum, know that it has a futuristic effect on them, or future effect. Let me not go and bite my tongue. English is not your mate. Any story you say about any country you are coming from, about anybody in your family, sticks with that person. And anytime the person is coming, oh, I don't know how best to explain this. Then my candid advice to you is that if you can avoid it, don't seek asylum. Unless you are deadly at that point where all security has failed you. In that my video, I explained all these things. You cannot say you are seeking asylum. You are seeking asylum from Nigeria, and there are other places you can go to. They will first ask you, why didn't you go here? Why didn't you go there? What has the police done? You need to have your figures and facts. You need to have your figures and facts to be able to say this and this and this. I've been to the cops, they couldn't help me, and my house was broken into. Evidence. You need to have all those evidences, not just coming in as a student. You have already told them that you have everything it takes, and now you are turning the table around to say you don't have. Already that alone in itself has judged the case. How did you come in before? You told us you had this money. So how come you don't have this money anymore? Where did the money go? So let he that has and hear what Global Assets is saying to this generation. Do not seek asylum if you don't have to. There have been people who have been here 2, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. They have not decided their cases. 10 years. So why would you put your life? What will you put your life on hold for 10 solid years? The word is enough for the wise. Well, please share this video. If you are still watching until now, that means you learned something from it. Share this video. Next year is coming now. There's reduction in students admittance. There is going to be a clamp down on asylum seekers. So please don't fall a victim. Share this information. Let it go viral. Let people get to know, so that if they now decide to do it after the knowledge is being given, then it's up to them. No concern precious again. Right. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye, my global assets.